Okay, double okay. So it seems like YouTube has changed the streaming key and has changed the way streams work in terms of scheduling. So if you schedule something on your phone, or I don't know if they changed it, but if you schedule something on your phone, it will lock it into being a phone stream. This made it really, really annoying because I set this up on my phone when I wasn't home, thinking, I'm scheduling a stream. That's really nice. So I gotta make this separate, non-normal stream window. Kind of lame. All right. I think this is. Oh, it is public. Good. 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 Chat. I'm gonna make sure everything's right. Nobody's watching this because, of course, it's it's frustrating. I'll play some music in the background. No idea how loud that is. Okay, not as loud as my voice. Alright. Yeah, still Winamp 2.95. It's the best version. I use it pretty much for looping, so, What is it flickering going on? Oh, it's, never mind. All tabbing. Hey, people are actually in the room. Alright. So, I should... That's actually working for this, huh? Interesting. Well, don't question it, I suppose. Just, yeah. Should set up the other stuff in the background. Alright, so basically, this is going to be a version of the soundtrack that uses Genesis samples. Second... Okay. Music quieter so I can focus better. I'll load one of the source files. Okay, there's Eternal Misery, hooray. So, in fact, I should probably use 0cc Fima Tracker for this because it is not kind to the ears. As you can... That was really loud. We're gonna set Fima Tracker, or whatever this is, down to like half. So you can hear that awful hiss all the time. This gives you the option to disable the hiss by the key command. So it doesn't sound that bad. It still sounds a lot worse than the actual game, though, because the game itself has real samples at this point, and this thing just has chiptune samples that I did not bother actually making sound anything like the real ones. Like, here's strings, Sure is strings. That one almost does. Atari Wave. These high notes. Okay. So basically, I was going to make a video showing how I actually do this from start to finish, and I'm still working on it. It's got like a script going on. But the biggest problem is it's just taking a huge amount of time. I've got lots of work I need to get done, and I need to actually pop out this chat. Making Genesis to be honest, yeah, it would be. I need, because I got two separate chat rooms going apparently. Pop out chat. All right. Sure, two chat rooms. I can do that. Right, I can do that. I mean, we'll see. For example, well, I was going to show actually how this whole sequence works, but it doesn't really matter for this video, this live stream. Rikki Vikki is based on this sampler, I guess, called Core Tone or Playtone, and it's literally what the ARM chip is running on its core in the actual video game. So if I go to the actual folder, which I might as well just show, but boop, This is actually the name of the code. All these, different text files are what make the thing work. So if I play one of those files, it looks like this. There's trailer 2. So you can see it's telling me like what priority everything has, so like which ones play over which doesn't really matter for this, but sample mode, this is looping. So it actually is showing what like it's saying from sample 0 to 337. That's how many bytes that sample is. Loop that many. These are all really simple. These are all just like the square waves and the saw waves. So it's going to be 0 to the end. But there's a lot more complex ones later on. Like it goes from, and especially the Genesis ones are quite a lot more complex because a lot of them have actual attacks and stuff. So they'll be like 0 to 10,000 and then 10,000 to 12,000 loop or something like that. Some of them will show single shot too, which you can see. I can only see it in this file. Yeah, I shouldn't do that. Because I have all this stuff open already. ClearV, which one's a good one that has that? No. A lot of these have it, it's just really hard to... Here we go. You can see a little arrow that comes up that says Arrow 2001. Huh. Oh well, it's really hard to catch because it's one frame, or close to one frame. The other thing actually is a looped sample, like the actual sound. It's in fact half that length, and I'm basically just manually changing the volume. I do that for a lot of stuff on this because keeping the full length was actually really bad in terms of the size savings. So I found out early on when I was doing this project, each file had to be a small file essentially. All right. This makes up one track of Rikki and Vikki. It's channel 0 to channel 9, so 10 tracks. Or 10 audio tracks, I guess. And what that does is it compiles... Oh, I've got so much stuff open. Where is his chat? Okay. What that does is it basically takes all these text blocks and converts them into audio in the Muse file. And these are all really tiny ones. Oh, I know why, because this is just a demo I did. Just channel 9 has anything really. This is the condensed version, so it has patterns. So pattern basically is like, it's a function, if you will. It's like call pattern 0, and then it runs this code. And since it runs itself multiple times, it calls pattern 12 and runs this one. That's just a program I made that automatically takes chunks of code and puts them into patterns. So the actual code would probably be, 2 or 3 times longer than this. So it's just strings of notes and frames, but that's a fairly inefficient thing by itself. And each note I think takes up 3 bytes or something thereabouts. And if I have lots of arpeggios, which are not automated in the system, I have to manually type all of them out, you end up with pretty big tracks. And the first track I made was 7 kilobytes, and it was the Rock Cavern, which Rock Muse. 124, 2018. Sure. Oh, some of these might not actually have the right. Yeah. Yeah, I changed the instrument order earlier on. Anyway, I should probably make a real version of that because it's actually like a different song. Like the slower part is part of the main track, so it's a lot longer. And he got me to change that. Anyway, that thing was 7 kilobytes, and I had a total of 224 kilobytes to work with. So I did the math. I'm like, well, he wants 32 tracks, right? Oh, well, that means I have exactly the correct amount of space to do this, but then the samples also count toward that. And if we look at the samples, not GN, it's RV samples. The samples take up 161 kilobytes. So I have 63K for the audio data, essentially. Actually, the samples don't take up 161K. That's the alternate version of it. The samples in the final game take up 119 kilobytes. Still, that's quite a lot more space than I'm willing to concede. So I have 105K for all the music data, and the first track I made was 7, which is going to be 224. And that's not even that complex of a track. It doesn't have arpeggios. It doesn't have, pitch bends or anything crazy like that. So I made the boss theme. I think that was about 17K. I made a regular cavern. That was 35K. Like, they're huge files sometimes. So making these pattern, or these these pattern guys are really useful, and they get really crazy, and it makes the code pretty much unreadable by humans. Anyway, this is sort of like the really quick intro into this, though. Here's a B3 node at 32 frames, and you just have to kind of know how many frames that is. So that's why I made a FamiTracker converter that takes all of this stuff and converts it into these numbers. It makes it a lot easier to use. Oh, and it definitely is. Yeah, I'm reading the comments here. It says that seems poorly optimized. Yeah, it's not well optimized. It's basically, why would you ever want to use this system like this? And I thought at first, I was like, it's like MML kind of. Like, I used to do all kinds of text-based music stuff back in the day. Why is it loud in LibreOffice? Come on. That's gross. Text pad. Mm-hmm. The text pad works. It's unfortunate. Oh, there we go. I used to have coloring on this, so I'd have like different little colors for all these guys, but you get the idea, where this is just text, and it's like, this is a G4, and it's a default length 8, so you can at least set the defaults here. You can say, hey, this is length 8, and everything from now on is that. You don't have to put the actual number, and it's all in the same thing. So this is channel A, this is the first square wave, second square wave, third, or the triangle noise, DPCM. So all 5 channels go right here, and you can put them in any order. You can put B, B, C, D, like it'll just play them in order. So this is a lot better, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but PPMCK and MCK and MML is a better system than BUP system, or like SAS, the actual language of SAS, just because you can visibly see where everything is written. Whereas with SAS, it's just like, here's one channel playing one note at a time for X amount of frames. Like, there's no musical anything to this. It runs at 240 FPS, so you just have to do the math. So I did all the math in the background and made a program in C# that just like goes through all this crap and doesn't cause me to have to lose my mind every time I want to write something. And I got the first track out really quickly, and they were like, "Wow, that was fast." And I'm like, "Yeah, it sure was." I didn't really say anything about this tool until later, because I knew I'd be adding to it. And even up until the trailer, I added to it. I had a tempo change in the trailer, and that caused big problems because I had one before, but I really jankily took care of it. Never lose. I need to remember to open this in the right thing. It's so loud. It's better. So this thing. So you realize, like, this doesn't sound anything like the actual track. I mean, it's supposed to be choir, right? This is strings. So there's a point though where at the bottom it changes tempo, because it's originally going at 112.5 beats per minute down here, and I needed it to suddenly go at like 100. So it literally spaces it out. It's still running at the same speed in FamiTracker, but I just have it delaying everywhere. So yeah, it's pretty janky, and this is the only time I really had to change tempos. But in the trailer, I have, if we go up here, this is the whole track, right? In the trailer, it's 1, 2, 3, or 0, 1, 2, 3 are all one tempo, and then 4 through like 12 are another tempo. I'm like, I'm just not going to do this janky thing for that long of the song. So I had to go back to the drawing board in the program, and I thought this was going to be a big problem and it's going to take forever. And it was literally 2 lines of code. And I felt so bad when I realized that. It was like, oh, if you see an F command, then just change the note lengths of everything. Or you change one multiplier. That was it. And I had set it up so that that would work beforehand and forgot that I'd set it up that way. So it was great. Anyway, what this does is it takes all those notes, puts them into a music file, or muse, if you will, which is what this is. And then you compile instruments and macros. So samples and macros. Samples are literally just the raw files that play. So I can pull up, if we go to Atari Lead, sure, the Gold Wave. I use Gold Wave for a lot of stuff. So there's a sample that's looping and playing, I actually think this is a really high pitch, like really high pitch. It just like, actually, hold on. Nope, this is actually the correct pitch. Never mind. I thought it was like a Nyquist or Nyquist thing where it just shoots down below the correct level, but it's not. So there you go. Atari 7R. These are wonderful sounding. Yeah. Bleh. That's actually not one of the sounds. I had a bunch of like random sounds I was going to use for the regular cavern. Didn't bother. Choir. So that's for the final boss and for the thing leading up to it. So there's a whole bunch of sounds, and they just are like that, and you have to define. Well, this is all messy looking because I haven't actually done anything with this file in a long time, but so yeah, the first number is the rate, the hertz rate, and the second one is the actual pitch that it's supposed to be. So this is 44 kilohertz, so it's a 44 kilohertz wave file, like a CD quality. That's one of the kicks in there somewhere. And it is 261, which is C4. And that just means play the sample back at this rate and you'll get the actual how this sample sounds. And if this happens to be C, and this is C, 261, then hooray, you're playing a C note, but it's pitched. But kicks and snares and noise and all this stuff is not actually, well, noise is sort of pitched, but kick and snare, you don't really want to be pitched so much. So you're just assigning these things to the Muse files. You have RV macros, you have triangle, saw, square. So I've got all these things. And basically it's saying, so this is instrument 4, Atari bass plus echo, sample, try Atari. So it's saying, hey, remember over here in samples, you're using this one that I've defined as try Atari, which is this thing. And it says it's 675 sample rate, and it's 1. So, okay, what this does when you put 1 like this is saying this sample is 1 hertz. It literally is 1 undulation, I suppose, of the, like, it's 1 waveform. And that's what that is. Try Atari. This is 1 actual, like, pulse of the waveform. So it's going to do that, and it's going to do it at a rate of 675. It's going to pull all those samples in as 1 hertz. So if it runs at 100 hertz, it's just going to do that, essentially. 67,500 samples. So this is 675 samples per hertz, if you will. So it makes it really easy. You just say, this is the size of the file. But in here, you have to say loops from 0 to the maximum point of that. So it's 675 samples long and loops from there to there. And, it's got all these nice little volume things that I had to manually calculate, which kind of sucks, but whatever. So the Genesis ones, these 2 files, the macros, these 2 files are really similar. Like, they're almost exactly the same. Here they are the same. So there's a few key differences. This horn thing and guitar. This was a problem yesterday. I was actually messing with this, and before I decided to do this live stream at all, and you have this N61, but then you have 70 before it. So I've learned something since starting this project. Like, I actually kept it up really nicely to the point where I didn't even know this until after I was done with Rikki and Vikki as a whole, and I started doing this Genesis stuff. So this is ins54, ins55. These are all generated from the FamiTracker file itself. Like I have my program will read whatever instrument, it converts it to decimal and says ints in that decimal. So I did these all very nicely and very in order. And then at the bottom, I added a whole bunch of crap that I ended up getting rid of. And I ended up getting rid of this horn that was number 60. But I made it number 70 eventually. I was like, I'll just add it back in for the regular cavern. That was a problem because the guitar is 61. And this program does not care what you label these as. In 70, this is number 60 now. Because it's between the 59th entry and the 61st entry. Also, it's zero based. So that's instrument 0, so it doesn't really care. Like, so I had all kinds of problems yesterday. Like if I get rid of this, like if I just delete this, it will crash this program the second it tries to use this. If I instead take this and put it here, then this will be the instrument it uses to play, and it'll always sound wrong, and it'll always, be the wrong sound. If this is not long enough and it doesn't do a looping, or the looping is outside of the bounds or anything, it'll just start pulling the macros compiled data as sound. It's great. Like, it's just, there's like, what? It's just random sound gets like added to it. So I just had to add this back in. I'm not going to change my macros again in FamiTracker files. That'd be nuts. In fact, I can't. Like, that's the point. So for these cover things, we're keeping the same muse files, and we're just changing the macros and the samples. So if here's the original one. So the compiled one I have now are, I need to actually go into my Bapu. All right. So yeah, it obviously sounds a lot different. Some songs benefit from this massively, other ones really don't. And I actually had these files in the game itself for a long time. In fact, they've been in the game since it came out, but they were pretty unfinished. Like the saw wave sound, I'm not very happy with. The organ sound is just the same one. A lot of the drums are either the same or they're really lazily done. Like the flame cavern drums are just like slowed down version of Sonic 3's snare. So like I added this one yesterday, the Gen guitar. So there's what that sounds like, and it actually sounds fine because the actual game is looping this quickly when it plays it, or probably more like this. We don't even hit the end. Basically, it just plays the sample over and over again. It only plays it in one song. I'm gonna read chat for a bit. Was on the stream, took a while, right one. Okay, so I need to get rid of the old one. She seems pretty confusing, but yeah, I'm gonna lay it out in more direct matter later on, because it's a lot easier to get once I do that. But because in this, I'm just like, here, I'm at the end of this project and I know everything about it, and here's a bunch of samples that I'm going to be editing today for fun. So anyway, or creating for fun, I don't know. So I'm basically taking these all from Genesis games. I mean, you can probably guess where I get some of them from. Like, these are all going to be wrong pitches because I don't remember. Oh, this is going to be very high pitched. I'm going to turn you down even more than you are. Why is it not Gold Wave not on here? Oh, because it's there. Oh, Gold Wave apparently isn't on here until it plays in audio. So, oh, that wasn't too bad. Yeah, I keep Gold Wave low because it's super loud if I don't have it on here. So yeah, there's that sound. Lead 1 is probably the trumpety sound. Yeah. So again, that sound sounds great in some scenarios and kind of bad in other ones. I would say the title is one of the best ones, honestly. So that works out really well, in my opinion. What it doesn't work out well in is if I go to, well, I've actually fixed this a lot, but like some of the, where is it? Is never lose not even on here? Yeah, that's the problem. So this the problem with this program is that it wants to open all the files in the same spot. Like I want to go here to open for the samples, and it's like, okay, we're in BupBoop, and that's fine because it's exactly where I should be. But I want to open an audio or like a Muse file, and it's also in BupBoop. It's like, great, well, you're just assuming that this is always going to be in the same folder. And yeah, that's what it assumes. So if I change it to something like never lose news, I always use my search program for this. Beta, see like all kinds of weird beta 12. Like, yeah, this is probably higher than 12, but this is the 12th one I received, so I'm going to copy this, and beta 12 is 99.999% the same as the actual game in terms of, especially in terms of music. So RV never lose. So it sounds like a weaker version of the original. And what I need to do is change a lot of the different sounds. I'm pretty sure the choir isn't even a sound. Like it just, oh. Alright, I'm going to get rid of those. No, I don't want to change that file. I have the originals all backed up in every single place, so that's fine. Okay, so that's the thing. I don't really want to, I don't know, I don't want to keep a lot of these samples, but I don't want to get rid of some of them either, so what am I using for choir right now anyway? Choir. Lead sand. So it's just the sand lead. It's this thing is the choir. Doesn't sound very choiry. And am I using that for anything else? Is that just that one thing? Huh? Yeah. No more lead sand. I thought that was gonna be like the good lead for the sand level. Huh. Anyway, there's choir X, so I guess I could keep that in. Like, I don't really know. What is lead 3.0? I think that's the one I'm actually using. Ruby lead 4. No, I'm not using that. Or if I am using lead 4, it's probably just the ending. Huh, I actually am using lead 3, but not O. Oh, I know what that is. That's the really nasty Atari like 7 sound basically, but it's like the FM equivalent of that. Alright, I guess new lead is probably the one yeah, I'm using that for Atari Pulse, so it's probably this. It works pretty well. Unfortunately, at lower pitches, it kind of falls apart. And there's a lot of times where I use this at lower pitches, so this is actually a really accurate representation of how this sounds on a lot of tracks. The problem is when you have a lot of really fast notes, you're only getting that sound, and it doesn't sound great. And it doesn't do any filter. This is doing a lot of filtering right now. The other thing doesn't do any filtering, so yeah. String gen. Oh yeah, organ. That's one thing I need to replace now. Okay, I've got this all lined up and everything. I just haven't done it. Where is organ? There it is. Super organ. That's the actual one I have in the game itself. It's 268 bytes. It's tiny, and this is actually a sample I got from some N163 track a long time ago. It might have been the one I generated for my program. I think that might be what it is. Anyway, it's just a really simple organ thing from N163. And I think it sounds pretty good for what it is, but this is going to sound a lot better for the Genesis soundtrack. So at least I think it will. Who knows? I need to go back to chat. No, chat's not really doing anything. Cool. It's like me madly ranting about stuff. Alright, so super organ, we're going to change you to, and you have to name everything raw. You don't really have to, but that's sort of what the example did, and that's what I kind of stuck to. GenOrg. Okay, GenOrg is 2,148 samples, so, well, I could do it that way, 44,100. Because this is not one loop of anything. I could take a smaller one, but it's not going to sound the same. So you have that. But if I just slice one of these, I think that's about right. Almost sounds the same. I like the bigger one better. It's really similar though. But alright, what sound is it? What note is this? So I gotta go into Famine Tracker. I don't have open somehow. Doesn't matter what I open, I'm just gonna do anything, it doesn't matter. Okay. 349.57. So that's an F, and I basically just played in Famine Tracker and copy the number that is the same sound, I guess, the same pitch. Alright, so that's set up, but I have to now go into the macros, and that is organ. Spooky organ. Okay, so it's 25 and 39. Both use the same thing. Now I need to loop this file at 2148. 2148. And, 2148. Alright. Save. Save. Go back to this. This is the most tedious part about all of this. I never actually automated this because I never really had to do anything past a certain point. Okay. Compile G samples. It's like, all right, you've done it. This is actually me shortcutting a little bit because these are batch commands for the specific, CTCC, whatever command that it actually is, but it's not much. Compile G macros. Hooray. Now we can go back to this playtone that's running. And we can reload those samples. So again, I've loaded the Muse file, the actual notes, from, it's like sort of like a MIDI, if you will, sort of, because it's just note data. It's not actually audio data. Anyway, this little eject button does the notes Muse file, whereas this does the samples and this does the macros. And the problem is that it now thinks I want to be in the same folder as that. And the other problem is that even if I am smart, I'm like, oh, look at this, I generated these things. It doesn't let you drag anything over. Just, whatever. It's unfortunate. In fact, what I should do is I should just play the one track that's really gonna show off the new changes. Okay. Oh, wait. Does that really happen? Wow. Wow, I never knew this. Okay, that's terrifying. What? It doesn't even play. You hear that? Wow. Okay, so when this program lowers the slider, it literally changes the volume of the playback of the emulation. It doesn't actually change the overall output volume. Like it's not rendering the files and then spitting them out at 100% volume and changing the volume at the end. This is literally changing the volume of the pan variables here. This is what volume is in this thing. It's pan. So if I play the full volume, they sit at 63, right? And they kind of Oh no, 26 and 12, and they kind of like go down and up. Maybe I think actually the sample does. Anyway, if I do this, suddenly it changes the values of the actual. Wow. So you can hear it kind of, they all come in a weird, like, lopsided way if I have it halfway. That's like dee doo dee doo. That's so bad. If I go low enough, they just won't play. Okay. Good thing I never output any files at half volume. That is special. I never knew. Wow, I can't believe that just happened. I learned something new about Osmond's program today. Anyway, I'm like putting this lower so it doesn't like make everyone's ears bleed, and it's changing the nature of how the audio sounds. That's. All right. We're just gonna use Windows because that's what Windows does. It takes the output of the final thing and just makes it quieter. I mean, technically you're losing some bit resolution. Who cares? It's 16 bits. You're never gonna actually hear the difference unless it's really really quiet. Anyway, so that. To this. Oh, that's so much more muted. All right. It makes me wonder if the actual. So, 1 second. Flame FTM. We are going to go hunting. Oh, cool. It decided to search on my old hard drives, so they have to spin up, and that takes a few seconds. It's kind of lame. All right. All right. This is not very high pitched. This is A2, very sharp 2, G, and D3. And it's probably compensating for the fact that the other sample is a really long one. It's 200 samples for, one loop. Maybe I can make it an octave higher. That's what I'm kind of toying with. So how you can do that is you go to, well, there's a couple ways. Oregon. Either I can divide this number. Yeah, no, I think you have to multiply by 2, but this one you can divide. So you see, 50. That'll do it. We'll see if that sounds acceptable or if it just sounds really bad. Boop. Samples, macros. If I do that too quickly, sometimes there's error messages and I just don't see them. So that's why I didn't ever automate that, I think. That was the wrong way. I'm definitely not doing that right. 200. Haha. We don't really need to do macros again. We haven't changed anything. That usually doesn't matter. Okay. Oh. Did I do something stupid? Oh no. See, there's an error message and I missed it. So it can't sample faster than 65,536, which means it's a 16-bit number. There's a arbitrary thing. 349. So I guess we're gonna say this is. I think if. Yeah, I think that's right. So basically 700. Which I might get some weird artifacts because I didn't directly change it, but whatever. Okay. Yep, the wrong way. I'm crazy. Let's just 349 divided by 2. No. Yeah. Shut up. 349.57 over 2. That number. There. It's correcter. They're kind of quiet, kind of muted. I think they should be kind of muted compared to the other one. Alright. We can probably make it louder. In fact, it should probably just be the sample that's louder at this point. There we go. Now, where else do we use that organ? We use it in Final Boss theme. Actually, we don't use it in the Final Boss theme. We just use a whole bunch of stacked saw waves. Well, I mean, there's never lose. Half of this is going to be me just like paging through all these. Never lose muse. There was a point where I actually went through this and had to change never lose to actually include stereo, because I switched from using my headphones for a lot of this stuff to using my speakers, and I just didn't hear the fact that it wasn't in stereo. I mean, the speakers are close enough together and pretty far away, so at least in my old house they were. That sounds weirdly mono to me too. Alright, date modified. Let's see why. Oh, I get it. That beta, yeah. You want like number 9 or something like that? Like actual number 9 or X. Or beta X2. Okay, I did X2, I think. It's supposed to be beta X2, if you will. Just to make sure I'm not going crazy. There we go. So the only thing that really doesn't sound good is the choir, or the lack thereof. Let's see, I can try a couple other ones that I thought sounded not great before. What else do we replay? Oh, Misery Final. It still uses the choir sound, which isn't great. There's our guitar. So yeah, That sounds better than it did, and I can show you what it sounded like. Oh, I could show you what it sounds like if you use the GN samples in the game. Oh, it's so good. This part's close. It sounds a little less full, but it's there. It's okay. Here we go. The best sample ever. It actually plays properly. What? Oh, that's disappointing. Alright, the reason I was so excited and the reason that it failed. So, eventually, I had a version of this GN sound font thing, or whatever, where I think Horn was playing for a very small amount of time, and then it was grabbing the guitar data at a wrong pitch, so it would be like 3 or 4 semitones off. It would be like if I took this guitar thing and just did that. I don't even know what that is, but it would sound hilariously wrong, and that's exactly what that did. Apparently that I didn't break that until after this version of the game, so crap. Oh, that was disappointing. Anyway, we're using the wrong files again, and now I've got to go. This is yet another back to bub boop. Actually, okay, back to bub boop, GN samples and macros, and then back to the actual beta folder. All right. I could be using the actual game files, but I'm lazy. Do we have? Oh, that might be a good one too. Irregular. I don't think I've ever heard this with Genesis samples, so it might be terrible. It might actually be terrible. Oh, that's another thing I need to change is the noise, the white noise. I used a really small sample, and you can hear it here. That like weird sound, like where it goes. Is it kind of like looping really quickly, and you can hear the actual inconsistency in the way it loops. And there's nothing really a sampler could do about this. Even if you play it backwards, like if you do the bidirectional loop, it sounds really bad backwards. I never realized how bad white noise sounds backwards. Just completely nothing like it should sound. Like most things sound like they do backwards. White noise sounds like nails on a chalkboard somehow. It's really weird. Anyway, now this sound I'm not a big fan of most of the time, but for this kind of scenario, where at the beginning of this and like when the Misery Dragon dies, it uses the sound too, which sounds kind of cool. Oh, you're right. It doesn't actually play. Does it actually play in the game? I don't remember. This plays in the game when you kill the Misery Dragon. I'm not sure if it actually plays when you go to. I think it actually does play because we basically put this song in after that sound effect because it was in its own file essentially. It sounds cool for that sound effect, but any other time it does that, I think it does it in Flame Cavern and a couple other places. It doesn't sound great, and I would love to have more FM sounding noise, if you will. Anyway, yeah, bop the boop. I didn't change the sine sound either, but who cares? Because Genesis can output sine waves all day. I have both. Okay. So this part sounds pretty similar, other than the saw wave getting replaced by some Genesis wave. So look at all this channel waste. I gotta have my echoes. Oh, that sound needs to be louder. Oof. Yeah. What are you? 5. Macro 37. How convenient. Oh, of course. quiet. Max, actually. That's unfortunate. The bass sounds really weird when it's playing high like that. You kind of get the idea, though. The rest it's just a sine wave sound. It's not bad. It's just odd sounding with that. The Genesis would never do things like arpeggios, or at least not like that. Atari 7 Raw. So this thing is too quiet, in my opinion. Starts at volume 50 because the original file is that's why the original file is terrifyingly loud. Like, here's the one we're using for Genesis. And then the one we're using for the original game is this thing. Well, actually, this one. Which is just maximum loudness ones and zeros. I mean, it's just absolutely earbleed city. Even if we change the volume to a much lower volume, like, let's go a fifth. Still decently loud and annoying. We have to change the pitch. In fact, we do this faster just to do playback rate. Yeah, let's do like 5500. There you go. So it's playing it at insane volumes. I think I had to compensate for that pitch difference too. Oh no, I didn't, because we can just tell it this is entirely one loop. So that's unfortunate. So what is this doing? So it says volume 50, loop -1, wait 50, and loop. So it just why do I have this? Okay, well, yeah. Okay, right. That literally is just playing it at that volume forever until node off happens. Okay. And it sits at 20. Okay, let's just scale these up then. 50 times 1.25. Sure. 62.5. Probably 125. Sure. 20 times 25. Duh. Alright, there's that. And Atari 7, I have the best names. The filtered one, which in our version is not filtered because both are sort of filtered. So volume is 2710. I think that makes it get louder. Yeah, 27, and then it shoots it up by 10. 127. So it's just, that's as loud as it gets. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's as loud as it gets. So it's just not loud enough. Screw it. There's no point in changing these values if... Oh, nope, we don't want to undo that. Right, 50. Okay. We just need to make the sample louder, which means it's going to clip, but that doesn't matter too much. Because again, the other one's basically clipping as much as possible. So let's say load lead 3. Let's make it like... we can compress it a bit to make it sound louder. Yeah, that works. And then... That works. It's not going to sound that pretty once I've saved it, though. Yeah. There we go. All right, that'll work. Yeah. Nope. This? Okay. I'll oftentimes run it multiple times because I think it hasn't worked. Yeah, where is it? Nope, there's actually not a time when that's used fast. Kinda. Ooh. Yeah, that's actually a thing that was a problem for a while. Game over. Yeah. That just sounds wrong. So I'm gonna see if I can... if it sounds better when it's much louder, because there's like no sound there. Yeah. You can actually hear the correct sound. So that's good. It's closer to being the correct volume. It doesn't matter too much for these tracks, though. Reg V. Ooh, who knows if that's like an actually finished one. Alright, let's let this play for a bit. And read chat. Get rid of that decimal in the volume calculation, huh? Oh. Oh, here's the sound. It's about right. Okay. Oh, well. I'm just closing out of files I don't need to close out of. Right, this is so nice and neat. So nice and neat. My official, RV samples is just this grotesque mess of horribleness. And this is all nonsense. Like, it doesn't actually do anything. So, yeah, buzz, snap, elect. I basically took my phone around recording stuff. And some of these turned out to be quite good. Horn, actually, I think is just like an N64 horn sample from like Star Fox and stuff. It's standard Nintendo dev kit one. Fork and Bowl were both really good for audio stuff, although Bowl just sounded so weird. A lot of these, like Meow, sounded terrible. Terrible. My cat meows so much at me for food, and then she just would not do it on command. I'm like, I won't feed you for a day. So you'll meow at me. Nope. I didn't actually not feed her for a day. She probably actually tried to kill me. Anyway, but no, she would like look up at my camera and be distracted, and then just be like, so I just got these really pitiful little chirping sounds out of her. It kind of sucked. 60 hertz, like that's an actual 60 hertz electrical line feed that I recorded. Didn't really work that well for audio though. Like buzz, snap, elect, water, bleh. I don't even remember what bleh is. So, yeah, I didn't end up using any of those. I just used a bunch of these in interesting ways. The problem was that I don't have enough macros to use the other ones. And I thought maybe I could use note-offs in a really clever way, but it wouldn't have really worked out. So that was the problem with using that for a regular cavern, was there were just not enough instruments, and a lot of them ended up sounding way worse than I thought they would. So, alright, so we got that done. Alright, what are some more things I need to fix in this? The chill base. Huh. Why are you opening on that window? Please don't. That's a pretty cool bass sound, but I think I've got all the bass that I can use in this program. It's neat though. There's something else. Timpani's fine. Ride, real snare, all that stuff. Real ride. These are like actual samples from a drum kit that I have, some 5,000 drum hits thing. Where is cold snare? There it is. Cold snare. So, it is just the Sonic 3 snare, which is just lazy as balls. In fact, I can show examples of this. I think it's actually RV story. Cool. That's the problem with using this boop folder of mine. That's just, I don't have any of the files. Like, it's just randomly like what is left over trash-wise. A lot of them are from April 2018, which means they could, or May 2018, which means they could be completely incomplete versions of the tracks, and that is extremely possible. I have lots of. I should probably release the actual incomplete or like original versions of some of these that we either split up or completely changed or something like that, just as a fun, alternate thing. Here's Tower of Heaven. I think it's one of the first things I tried converting to make sure my converter worked okay. It doesn't. It doesn't work. Yeah, that sounds scary, actually. We could slow that down and make it horror music. Tony Slap. So yeah, it works. It's missing a bunch of the parts. Do I have the Kirby one still? I think I sent this to Osman a while ago. Oh, typing K-Muse is a bad idea, no. K extension Muse. Yeah, K boss. That is under Bup Boop. What? What just happened? Okay, I guess I overwrote that with the file that had the same name on it. Let's go here to this. This is under public. Ugh. My Dropbox folder. Only 648 items. Probably should clear that out sometime. Just, yes, replace it. Okay. It's kind of neat. It's weird that some of them play at lower volumes or lower pitches there. Yeah, this is so rad. Any progress, significant progress? Yeah, I fixed the organ sound and I fixed the Atari, like rough Atari 7 sound, whatever that thing is called. So I like that. Those both work. This is just me playing around with the samples. I've got all these lovely, Boss S for NES. Maybe I should put this on YouTube. So yeah, basically try to make NES versions of everything for some reason. Or like N163 versions or Atari 2600 versions. Those are always fun. Technically 7800 too, because the system used the same audio chip, which is why this exists in the first place. What is FF first? Oh, I know what that is. That's awful. That was a joke song I sent someone. It's one of those family fingers. I was like, I'm going to send this to my sister who was going to try to murder me over this or something. But then I ended up not, because she'd probably actually kill me. Right. Rec 2. I need to never listen to that. In fact, I should probably just delete it, because it's one of the most annoying earworms ever made. Trailer 2. Yeah, that is going to be the NES representation, or like the N163 representation of this, which does not sound good. I have not actually made it for that. Okay, what I need to do now is I need to get a good choir sound and a good noise sound. So that means going through a whole bunch of Genesis music and getting one. Can I think of in Genesis? It has lots of noise that's just constant. In fact, VGZ Sonic, sure. Okay. I have so many Genesis soundtracks, it's silly. Oh, Echo, yes. Echo Tides of Time will have. Where is it? It's after this part. If that's not one channel, that might be good. I know there's stuff later on in that track. So we go to this nonsense, configure plugin, blah, blah, blah. Make all these shut up. And then we figure out what channel that is. Okay. It's 3. Unfortunately, it is the same sound, but there we go. Oh, that's kind of unfortunate. It's like... Not sure this is such a good candidate. I'll try anyway. Oh, you... Reset on track change. That resets on track change, and then it resets itself if you close the program, so... Alright. Output, disk writer, go. Nope. The wave dump. No. Come on, you. There we go. I guess you just have to be in front, huh? Oh, I hate that. I need to disable that. Oh, look, all my programs just closed because I took the main one and I shook it. That's stupid Windows 10. All my stuff on the right got stopped. Like, come on. Alright. Ooh. That's better. Kinda. So the problem with playing this backwards again is that if I do that, what am I doing? Reverse. Actually, this doesn't sound bad. This isn't generated the same way as NES stuff. Oh well. Seems like a pretty solid ramp. I'm going to fade out. Okay. No. Fade out. Oof, that's close. -5. That's kind of exactly right. Okay, then we copy you. I think there's like a squeaky sound going on, which is unfortunate, but paste at the end, reverse, and then play the whole thing. Yeah, a little squeaky sound is... Oh, I didn't actually want to completely close it. Okay. I mean, I could fix this stuff up and make it not sound like that, but that would be very annoying. Like this... It's not... That's the thing, it's not purely white noise. It's like kind of brown noise, if you will. Man, like I really would not like to go through this and like fix all those tiny little things. So I should probably find a different song for this. Let's see, where's Genesis? Echo, okay. See, darkness. I don't know. That's the one song I remember really well. Is why is it not playing? Right, because I have that everything disabled. Whatever. It kept the settings? Wow, you... I was really annoyed with you yesterday, so... There. No, I don't think any of these really have a lot of noise like that, so... Maybe someone in chat can help. Yeah. Normally Genesis games that just have noise playing at a constant volume. I could make some of my own, I suppose, but like I would have to actually download Deflamask and so. Right, I can't actually stop it from there. I'm gonna stop it from the playlist. Mega Man X by Gecko Yomori. It's just way too good. Yeah. It's sad when the Genesis does this soundtrack better than the Super Nintendo. Anyway, like it seriously does. Like most, I would say 99% of it's like better to sounding to me. Wily Wars, Ravage Vision. Oh yeah, he is way too good. Hmm. Oh, I can't adjust the volume apparently. That's not bad at the beginning. Eh. Nah, I don't know, man. 3D Blast. Do I remember anything from 3D Blast that just has constant white noise? Kind of like a hissing, like sss, ideally at the same pitch and the same volume. I could use that one from Echo, but I'd have to basically straighten out all the little kinks, which would be very annoying. Sonic Spinball. No. Nah, Sonic Spinball I don't think does. Like... Beta. So Sonic Spinball is gems. Like it's not a custom engine, it's gems. So it's like what Comic Zone and like a whole bunch of other stuff used. And it pretty consistently just uses the Sega Master System's noise channel for everything. So like you can hear even the snare drum here is just the Sega Master System. It's so weenie. Here I can just get rid of all this stuff and come back up here. The reset. SN76496. There's the snare. I do not want this noise channel. It's so much worse than the NES's. But a lot of good music seems to use these channels pretty well. Sonic Spinball doesn't really use these that much. It kind of does for this Lava Powerhouse. But again, super sparingly. Or like the machine, I'm pretty sure uses it a lot. Nope, just for the drum. No, there we go. I think it stacks it with it. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like it better without the noise. Huh. We're way off topic now. Whatever. It's actually using multiple... Yes. It's not that useful anyway, because again, it's just really rapid little bursts. It's still better... Yeah, it's not going to be very smooth. It's still a lot better than the other one, though, because it was going constantly. Interesting, though. I never actually knew that it used 3 different snares all at once, sort of. Ravage's PSG noise crashes. Yeah. Again, like, I kind of want one that's just like a really long, drawn-out thing. That's just a thought Echo Tides of Time would give me. I don't know about Echo 1. Oh. It's the same song from Echo 2. I actually didn't play Echo 1 that much. I think I got to level 3 or 4. Even though I own the cartridge. But I played Echo 2 a lot. Thunder Force, Time Tracks? Maybe. They're all really short, though. Yeah, it's pretty easy to make myself. I just am lazy. Do I even have Duffler Mask on this computer? I do, from 2013. Probably don't want to use that. So... Duffler Mask Tracker. No, I'm not going to learn how to use Duffler Mask on the stream. I used it, again, in 2013, so... And by used it, I mean looked around it and figured out that I wasn't a big fan of it. And that was that. So... Nah. I don't actually know that soundtrack well enough. Yeah, Transparent Obstacle. Coolest song. Hey, actually... That's not really noise, though. It's a metallic sort of pitch noise. Let's check it out anyway. Did you just crash? Seriously? Boo. Do you remember my settings? What? Wait, that's the bass channel? Wow, that's one sound. That's pretty amazing. Wow, I'm impressed by that, actually. Oh, I get it. It crashed and it went back to my old setting of only having one channel open. Okay. That's the thing. Like, if you ask me to find an NES game that does this, I can actually think of one very quickly. Which is frustrating that I can think of it that quickly for this. There we go. Done. Anyway, like, why do I know that? I don't know. Because I've listened to that track several times 20 years ago. Mega Turrican Sage 4-2, huh? Do I not have Mega Turrican? No. Doot doot. Time to get it. Stage 4-2. That's loud. Okay, yeah, that works extremely well. Download. Yeah, that definitely works. All right. Mega Turrican. Let's dump it in this folder, because that's where I put all my Genesis music. Oh, I had it all along. Anyway. It's just channel 1, how nice. Okay, that's pretty amazing. Preferences, we gotta discard that. Nope. Set next to direct sound so I don't just constantly make new files. It kind of does ramp, but this is a really nice ramp, so I'm fine with this. That's good. Alright, let's reset that, just so I don't wonder why my Genesis thing doesn't work again, potentially. We're going to... Nope. Fade in. That's way too low. Undo. Let's say -8. That's not enough. Should also be logarithmic because the other one looks sort of logarithmic. -5. Go. Hey. Ooh, that actually loops well. What? Would never have expected that to be the case. Let's... Oh, I gotta do channels. The volume's a little different, I suppose. Do that. Huh. So the -5. This one, if you logarithmic, is not right. It is either way, I guess. We might as well keep it linear. Point. 241's not enough. Probably doing this like the dumb way, but whatever. 2.0. Okay. I guess it's just redo. I guess you do a fade in with this data. Okay, that's a lot better. Copy. Oh, Control E. Reverse. And there's a bunch of empty space for some reason. Oh. I don't know why there was so much empty space. Ah, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to Control Y. Whatever, we know the value. We're going to fade in. 1. There we go. Now we copy E, reverse, all. Sounds real bad in the middle. So let's get rid of it. Yeah, I'm like a genius. Okay. A very smart genius. Okay. Save as. No, not 3D objects. What? Disk. Where is this? Pop boop. Pop faster. Aha. That's why I made this folder, specifically as shortcuts for the other folder. So Genesis, and we're going to call it raw. We're going to call it quotes attributes 8-bit mono signed. So this is actually signed 8-bit mono, which is really weird because pretty much every wave format I've ever seen has been unsigned 8-bit mono, or 8-bit in general. 8-bit is unsigned. So having to set this as signed was always a weird thing that I forgot early on, and it caused a lot of problems. It's kind of like the theme of making music for this game early on. It's just like, nope, nope, nope. The way you normally do things this is not that. And I just had to constantly figure that out as I went. Yep, new format. See, look at all those different levels. NES cannot touch that. This might sound terrible, but whatever. Okay, what we need to do now is we need to go back to this. And we need to go back to this. And wherever this thing is. Okay, this is going to be the most annoying part. Because we need to match their pitches as much as we can. And I have the different notes and stuff all lined out and stuff in my program that correspond to NES pitches or close to it. So that was all done, and we don't have to ever think about that again, which is really nice. But we also need to look at the actual bup boop. Like RV. No RV samples. That one. Okay, noise and noise fast, which are both the same thing. Oh, I see. Oh no. 2070, okay. I guess it would be the same here, wouldn't it? 2070. Now we need to listen to that sample and see how off that is. Boop. Noise. Noise profile. Yes. Oh, this is going to be so loud. In fact, I should look at exactly how loud this is and match it. Looks like 0.7. So... oh, it's also off center. We can actually fix that in this program pretty easily. We just say offset. Scan. Is it not off center? Am I just... why is it off center? Oh. I'm like, what's wrong? Okay, that's good. So it's -7 to -7, almost exactly. See, the NES one is just little tiny blips here and there, but it's just ones and zeros, and that's why it sounds like that. So -7. All right, this is what this one looks like in comparison to this. We're at 0.2 kinda. Let's maximize volume with 3 clicks. Oop. That is dangerously close to correct. Not quite though. We need to increase the volume by a tiny amount, so let's just guess. That's too much. Well, versus the NES one still sounds louder. Oop. 2, sure. No, that's way too much. I don't want to do that either. The reason why the NES one sounds so much louder is because it's clipped. It's just the maximum amount of noise each sample makes here, whereas this one is so much more varied. You know, they're all going to be in the middle somewhere, so it's not going to sound as loud for the entire thing. But it's close-ish. I can change that if I have to. So Jin noise. Okay. We can change it in the files in terms of the pitches, because it might be a problem. I need to get rid of this. Okay. Project 2612, the best Genesis music site ever. Noise? I'm reading the chat now. White noise seems to loop well no matter where you put the loop. Yeah, but not really. Because again, like this right here, you can hear it. You can actually hear the sound because of the way this noise is generated. You can actually hear the differences. It's going do 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 do. Like, that's the best chunk I could find of white noise that didn't sound like crap at this fast of a loop. If I reverse it, because what I do in the other one is I'm taking the whole thing and reversing it here is bidirectional. But if you reverse this, it actually doesn't sound bad. Why did it sound so bad that one time? Oh, maybe I'm just crazy. But it just sounded really like, I don't know. So could I conceivably copy this and paste it at the end or reverse? I mean, it sounds okay-ish, but you can kind of hear like a do-do-do-do-do going on in the background. So, anyway, this one sounds a lot less. Yeah, that sounds a lot better. You kind of get this like high-pitched like artifacing at the end, artificing. But it's not that big of a deal. All right, we're gonna do this now. Noise is going to be noise. We'll keep these values the same, I guess. We need to actually go here and change noise and noise fast. So noise. Okay. Yeah. All of these are going to be different mode looping. 99,701. That's so much bigger. It's great when size constraints are not a thing. They're both going to be the same. Okay, sample, noise, change U. That's so annoying. Okay. Change U. Okay, is that it? There's noise fast, but it's the same. Good, good, good. Noise fast. Okay, what that means is it's supposed to be a higher pitch, but we have the same loop point. Basically, it is kind of being 10 times faster. It's looping the file much faster. So 200 hertz instead of 2070, it assumes this is a much lower sound, so it has to boost it up a lot faster. It should still sound good, but we're gonna find out the fun way. The fun way. Boop. G samples, good. Unexpected syntax errors. 185. I probably did something weird with double clicking. Oh, it's right here. Mode looping 099. Well, when it says the line number, it's almost never exact. It's kind of weird. Oh, Osmond says as long as the period is long enough. Yeah, if you can invert the waveform polarity by using negative volume. But I do agree the tools for this where everything you know is wrong. Yes, it's absolutely correct. And then when I went back to like editing files normally at the end of the project, because I had to put out the album, it was like, oh, so I have to save these as CD quality now. So confused. About your whole collection of music on Bandcamp. Cool. Yeah, I really like those collection things. Actually, it said I put it on sale recently. I realized that I had a couple more things in there, and it was boosted the price to $4. And I'm like, I want it to be 2 still. So I just made it 2, and it announced that to everybody. It was like, oh, hey, everyone, this is on sale. Go pick it up. And everyone bought it at once. Like, one day I probably got like 50 sales, and I was like, okay, that was nice. Did not expect that sudden amount of money, but neat. Oh, yeah, I put PewDiePie songs up there for $1 because I didn't want, 10,000 kids downloading the file and completely tanking my Bandcamp account from having free downloads. So I'm like, here's $1. I'm sure no one will give me any dollars for this, but that's fine. I just wanted to be able to stream it. Okay, what's going on here? Why is this failing? It says unexpected end of. Value out of range. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Sample's too big. Oh, I forgot. These can only be 32,000 bytes. Crap. Like, look at this big, huge sample. How cool is that? Yeah, that was dumb. Well, there's nothing to undo. Guys, pick 32,000 samples I like. In fact, it should be. In fact, I should be able to take the middle. That's 36, but whatever. That works. Save. Alright, so 31,648. We're going to do a blind replace that with 31,648. Because I can. Yeah, the maximum size for any one sample is 32K. 32K, and I forgot that. Yeah, sample is too big. Whoops. I could use samples. I could use the replace function to change all those. I could, but there is a minute chance in the first place that the same sample size is being used somewhere else, or that number is being used somewhere else. But in this case, it was 99,000, so who cares? Sounds good enough. Whatever. That should be good. Boop. Okay. So I need to also take this. Technically, the sample, I'm relatively sure the sample can actually be bigger than 32 kilobytes, but I don't think this program would be able to address that, or I wouldn't be able to loop it. Because it looked like the sample was compiled okay last time, but you can't tell it to play you can't tell it to loop those samples. You could tell it to play them, I guess, with a single shot. In fact, do I have ones that are longer than that? Oh, I should just keep this here because it's going to be confusing. Genesis. Wow. Oh no, nope, that wasn't it. Guitar's only 10K. Okay, yeah, I don't have anything longer than 32K. Anyway, I'm so surprised this hasn't crashed yet. Well, it actually makes sense because I used to run these constantly. Whenever I compile a file, it creates a new instance of this, and I just closed all my windows again because Windows 10 can just die in a fire. Anyway, I only do this when I'm streaming, so there would be like 30 of these things open in the background, and my CPU, which is an 8-core Ryzen, would get tanked. And that's just hilarious to think that my 16-thread CPU would get tanked by this simple little program. But it was using, I think it was the way it draws or something like that, just has a lot of overhead. So if there's 30 of them, it just slams you. Anyway, samples, macros. I've got like a million things open. That's one thing I like. I can just group all these together and close all of them. Beta. What do we want to hear first with this? Not Tia. Sure, rock one. Huh. This sounds pretty standard. It's a little quiet, but it sounds standard. Oh yeah, the ZX samples. What uses this better? Technically, the beginning of Irregular Cavern. That sounds kind of cool. Huh, it's like a jet taking off or something. RV. What uses low sounds in this game? I forget. Well, technically, regular does quite a lot. Low noise. Oh, Misery. See. Huh. It's too high pitched. Okay. That's the wrong one. What am I doing? Closer. It's a lot closer, but it's not quite there. I was gonna type 300 earlier, but I didn't bother. And now look at me. I could run what is it called? MUML on that. So the way I had this set up for, actually I can find this real quick. Where is it? Boop, boop. Oh, here it is. Misery FTM, Misery S, sure. That sounds bad. Oh, here's the thing that's playing that. That sounds pretty normal, right? But then if you have this at the same time... So the reason that happens is that N163 has a limited amount of memory, and I was not accounting for that at all, because who cares, because the output's different. So this 27 instrument, it shares space with this OF instrument. So all I have to do really is take this and make sure none of these are conflicting, which they probably are. Go to wave, tell it position 0, or anything really. It probably steps on these guys' toe though. Yeah, it steps on that guy's toes. So anyway, you have this track, and it sounds absolutely lovely in this program. Yeah. Anyway, what I had to do originally when I did this setup: file, export text, and we go here, and it'd be like test.text. Cool. So I double click, yes. Okay. Then we go to boop, F5, make sure this is correct, and it's just this big literal text output of all the windows. Like you can actually see the little like lines and notes and stuff that says word wrap on for some reason, but no word wrap. Yeah, now you can see the actual columns and stuff. So yeah, all of them. And this goes in order, so it's just pattern D, here's pattern C. My program completely ignores pattern order. This is why you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't do this, it just plays out of order. So you have to have them lockstep like this. You can skip ones; it doesn't care. It'll literally skip ones that it doesn't see. But other than that, like it'll always do them in order. So my program will take all this crap and convert it into all the other crap. That program is FT2 SAS. So run it, and it just instantly spits all these things out. Here's one channel. Good luck figuring out what any of this is. Here's a G1 for 36 and a pan 1616, because that's a volume command, because that's what volume is in this. It's panning. Like you literally are telling the left speaker to volume 16 and right speaker to be at volume 16. So 60, 20. You can see how this is like really repetitive. I don't even know what DSL is. Oh, it's D sharp 1. Ha. Yes. Because sharps are S's in this. It just looks like an L. Anyway. So yeah, this is pretty much indecipherable. Garbage. Like, if I had to write music this way, it would be very painful and really simple sounding. So, that's why I built this whole system. Then the next step is to go to, and video prep is like all this like output stuff that I wrote at the very end. Optimizer. There it is. So if I run it one time, it'll go, the text length is in 6690. Min is 1993. All right. So it just compressed that from 6690 to 1993 lines of code. So it's significantly smaller. There's 11K, and now this is pretty super indecisive or indecipherable because now you've got all these patterns. And this one, it dumps all the patterns at the end of this file. So this file used to be, I think, 18K or so. Now you got all these like call pattern 1930, 1937. So just no human's gonna be able to, okay, you're 1766. Let's go to this channel 9 where I dumped all the stuff. 1766, where are you? There we go. That's what that does. It calls pattern 1945. All right, let's go to that. They just go down that rabbit hole. Like, this is going to take us way too much time to actually see what the notes are. Oh, this one actually wasn't that bad. Pan 1616. It's not even notes. It's just some pan commands. Because it does it down to however many is like however many gives you a time or size savings. So it basically just like goes over each iteration and calculates which one's the best and spits that out. So what you can also do is you can run it on itself. Like as you saw there, a pattern called a pattern, but it doesn't actually run itself multiple times. So it can run it again, again, and again, whatever. And this time it didn't seem to save a whole lot because that one was actually pretty optimized, but you can see it's just going to be even more patterns. Pattern 1959 goes all the way to 1971. Look at this one. Pattern 1948 calls all these other patterns. What? So, oh yeah, and the channels, because of the way this works, all the channels share this channel's patterns, so they can all share each other's patterns. So if you have the same notes in like different patterns or different channels, it'll actually save space on both channels at once. And this was a problem for let's see, boss s ftm. That actually picked up a lot of files. Anyway, okay, I thought I was being really clever. Yeah, these things. So I thought it was clever. I was like, I'm gonna, instead of doing this, I'm just gonna have these be a lot more simple, and you know, 2D. Okay, now it sounds the same to me, right? But it's, you know. So it sounds the same, but what this is doing is it's going through 4 notes on each side. This is left ear, this is right ear. That's what these I commands end up being eventually. This is nothing in Family Tracker, but eventually it interprets I's as stereo commands. So this is left, this is right, and your left ear is hearing, right ear is hearing this. There's these 2 notes at the beginning. So it kind of makes an offset. It makes them sound like they're pinging, ponging between both ears. Kind of neat. I thought, well, that's just an unnecessary thing. This increased space, like if I just have these 2 repeating themselves, like BG, 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 all the way down, it increases the space taken because the patterns take this, BGEB, and they pattern match it to this, and this, and this, and also this, and this. Like, it's all the same thing. So it pattern matched 7, or that's 7 different patterns in 2 different channels. Whereas the other one was taking like this little, 2 pattern thing and pattern matching it like a whole bunch of times. When it has to call the pattern at that many times, it wastes space. So, like, this actually was more efficient the more, I don't know, extravagant way. It's kind of interesting. All kinds of weird little things like that. So, that was the tedious way of compiling a file I showed, but, Alt-X-E. Okay, so there's this thing called MUMML that I used to use all the time. I just shook it around and didn't close the windows, so I'm not going to do that anymore. I used to use this all the time in MML stuff or MCK, where you edit a text file and put save, and it automatically compiles it, and then you can hear it immediately. So if we were to export text, and it would go to the wrong folder again because this program is dumb. We need, okay, it's create wave. That's the problem. Begin. Wait, no. So we want boop boss s dot wave NSF. There. It's going to create an NSF. That's why I have NSFs in that folder, because it forces it to go back to that one. So once we say export text again, it'll go to boop. So once you have that set, you don't have to do anything. I have a Logitech G 106 keyboard or 105. I can press a single button and it's just boop boop. Optimizer, okay. It's actually running the optimizer on this. And there we go. When I'm writing music, I don't run the optimizer because who cares how big one file is. But you can see that it went from, what is that? Yeah, 5,719 to 2,997 to 2,974. So it's close to half the size, and a lot of these get smaller than half, so that's why I made that thing. Anyway, I could set up a system like this to autosave with these gen macros and stuff like that if I wanted to, but I think it would actually be a really big hassle a lot of the time because I just save sometimes when I'm not thinking. And then it would be like there's an error and I wouldn't be able to tell that there's an error. That was a problem a little bit with music, but it wasn't that big of one. That's why I eventually made this faster thing where it's like, oh, I just have the links all right here, but that stopped being reliable, so that's why I'm using these. Anyway. Macros. It's like weird sounding, but it's going to be weird sounding no matter what. It sounds odd, but again, like our original version, it sounds odd. I'm just used to it. Flame. noise sounds really nice, actually. Of course, the snare still sounds bad. I need to fix that. It's just like, which is bad. I might as well use the original, because the original actually is a sampled sound that NES can't really do. Yeah, cold snare, which is literally... What's a drum that's slowed way down? That was too slow. So there it is. I mean, it sounds like a bad Genesis sample, essentially. That was the point. So I might as well just keep it. Is it even in Genesis folder? Nope, but I can put it there. I'm just going to wholesale copy this one, because that doesn't need to change, really. It's not a chip sound. Cold snare. Well, I could have kept that, couldn't I? But just got to double check that that works, which means I have to recompile. That's fine. I think it still sounds fine. So, another thing that's wrong about this version, but I think is fine, is that you can hear the phasing on that. So, if I reload RV samples and macros, if you listen to the lead, it sounds a lot more detuned. So it sounds a lot more like dirty, and the Genesis one is this like weird, clean, sort of like phasing sound. It's because the octaves are wrong. This, where is it? Saw. It's harmony.raw. I love that. So yeah, you can see there are definite differences here. Saw and D-saw here are 392.49, so that's my attempt at detune. And here we have 675 and 1 and 65.65678, or 52678. So the reason why that's so different is just because of the way these are made. Like, this thing is not a single loop of this, it's like a longer wave than that. That was the point. Every saw uses the same sample, pretty sure, yeah. So what I could do is I could make these wider, and that would probably fix it a little bit. Like 2, this could be 393. These are actually pretty... 392.2, 392.6, there we go. They'll do something, but I'm not convinced it'll actually change it very much. And a lot of the vibrato is wrong, because this sample, wherever it is, this guy, is the wrong pitch. Yeah, 337, 1, 337, and this one's 310, because it's literally a different pitch that's being played back at 44 kilohertz. So that's kind of the problem, where like this is a different pitch, it has to scale it differently, and so you end up with the vibrato, instead of going, bum like that, it's like bum. certain tracks, and that's not really that easy to fix. I'm not sure I really want to like. It doesn't sound terrible. It just sounds strange. So compile these, assuming that it didn't fail. Maybe this will sound different. Oh, Osman has to go. Okay, real kicker, the Epic's tools and links were like this, but even worse. No macros, calls, or returns. Oof. Yeah. Didn't really change it that much. Okay, what are you? T-Saw 2 and 3. Which one are you even using? Is the better question. It's gotta be these two. But these guys are, well, not that far apart, actually. Like 1 hertz, or yeah, 1 hertz. These guys are not even that. 27 and 28. What do you use? Yeah, there's Saw and D-Saw 2. Really? So it uses this? Well, this guy up here and this guy down here. 391.9 and 392.2. That's so bad. It's 391. Okay. I just need samples for this. Go. You keep some of the notes as simple square waves since Genesis also had SN76489. Actually, I can't. There are no simple square waves in this. Yeah, that's better. Alright, another thing we need to test in that case is RVC. The lead that comes in here always sounds wrong to me. Dun, 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 dun. Like, it just always sounds too clean, and we need it to sound dirty. The song needs to sound really somewhat dirty for that part. Let's see if this fixed that at all. Kinda. I'm risking breaking a whole bunch of other stuff here, but that works. That's just a quick sample of it, though. Let's try this again. See if this comes up hilarious. Oh no, I love that thing. The RV Misery C Discomfort Dispenser. Yeah, that's easily my favorite track in this entire thing. By a long shot. Ooh, that sounds a lot closer to the original. Still sounds cool though. Okay, that's shaping up nicely. What's another thing that bothered me about this? So I kind of don't like. I don't mind, like in some tracks I don't mind the main lead sound. Other ones it kind of isn't great, but it's sounding better now. Yeah, Rails and Rust. I can't actually make anything simple square waves because there is no simple square wave in this. Like, look at my sample list. The closest thing you get is this. Sure, it's 25% square wave, which an SN chip can't do. It can kind of approximate one that doesn't quite sound the same, but it's close, but nah. We got Atari 7, which you've heard. It sounds ear-piercingly loud. Atari, which is this guy. That was the Atari 7 also. Great. Atari Lead, that's the right one. Which again isn't really a square wave. It's like a near square rectangle. So, kind of is like a buh sound instead of an ooh sound. Old Buzz Choir. What's another thing that's close to, like, the closest thing is a saw wave, which I think is an actual recording of the VRC6. Yeah, it's the step saw. It's not like a straight saw. Sine. Sine is like an actual sine wave. Like, it's a pretty pure sine wave. Snare, strings, just actual strings. Here's that tiny sample I found or made. I don't really know which one, but yeah, this thing is tiny, but it sounds pretty church organ-y. I kind of like it. Triangle Atari, which is just an NES triangle wave overlaid with the Atari. I think it's Sound Zero, which I think sounds really pleasant. Like, it's kind of a, it's got that Atari bite to it, but it has a lot of depth, which is where we get RV Rock from. Which I cannot find in this folder. So I'm just gonna copy it into this folder because I'm lazy. Which I'm still using the Genesis samples because of course it'll play that. So I really like that sound. I really like that I was able to come up with that. All right, I guess I might be close to done. Well, no, the choir sound. That was a big one. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to find a good choir sound on Genesis. I mean, there's the thing from Devilish, like a couple other things that sound sort of choiry, but they are using a very specific fifths note that sounds completely wrong if you try to loop it and use it for other notes. They're using it in fifths only, so it kind of makes sense. I might have to look up a lot of different tracks for that. Or just find something that sounds sufficiently choiry without actually being a choir sound. Mega Man the Wily. Not going to find it here. It's like the biggest disappointment of a soundtrack ever. Like, I really wanted to hear Top Man sounding like this. Winamp, you good? There you go. It's just, it's probably one of the better ones too. I actually made top. Nope. Ooh. What is wrong with my PC today? It's like some of it's not responding properly. Wave. Do I not have this anymore? Gemini F2. Yeah, that's what that is. I thought I made a Top Man version of this. It's like tests. Yeah. Oh, top 5. Yeah. Top Z? size. Date modified. Oh, this one's newer. So this is a precursor to Mega Man 3 Remade, where I basically was like, this is the original song with N163 accompaniment, and I wrote the accompaniment part only. And it sounds okay, I guess. It was really hard to do. It gets off time, too. Nope, this is actually Mega Man 3 Remade, isn't it? So where's the ones I had? Oh, it's really frustrating. That's Mega Man 3 Remade, but these F2 ones are the original. So this is going to be 2010. This is hacks right here. There we go. It's going to be right after this. Did I not test? That's wrong. That can't be right. No. All these like... these tests. There's all kinds of goodies in this folder that I just probably am going to forget forever. Dire, all that stuff, yeah. N163 choir song, if we can find that. Yeah. First choir test, running on actual hardware. So, that was neat. Anyway, going on tangents constantly. 60 hertz Wily Wars. Yeah. I actually don't know if it's 60 hertz or not. I doubt it. Does it not tell me the speed? Oh, that's weird. Recorded rate. Oh, sure. Just... does it not work? Nope. There we go. I guess it is 60 hertz. Interesting. Because I've only played the 50 hertz one, and it's terrible. I have heard the 60 hertz one fixes a lot of those problems. Because the 50 hertz one, they just slowed it down, and it just stayed slow, and it just doesn't play well as a result. Also, it's really glitchy and terrible. Yeah, the music was slower, I guess, in the 50 hertz one. Anyway, gotta find a choir sound. Not probably from Moonwalker. Like I know Genesis music that I could pull that would be amazing for this, but it doesn't actually. I don't have the VGMs, and they don't exist. Like the person has released them, so. Maniacs, no. Bloodlines? None of these. Oh, so that's where I got the organ sound is from these. So. Gauntlet 4, maybe. Right. I know it's the best song, Transparent Obstacle. I just don't know if it has any, like... It says doesn't really sound like choir. I think at one point maybe it does. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the same guy that made Devilish, so it's probably going to use that fifth thing. Clay Lancer, I don't know enough of that soundtrack to tell. Master of Monsters? Kind of that sound, but I feel like it only sounds like a voice because of the way it's being used more than the sound itself. It's really similar to lots of FM sounds. Maybe still usable though. Yeah, this is Sakamoto, isn't it? Yes. Of course it is. This is it on Genesis and it sounds really pretty? Sakamoto. There's about an 80% chance of that. Or it's a Sonic game or it's an Echo game. Echo to a lesser extent. Or Gecko Yamori / Savage Regime wrote it. There you go. And maybe like a few other random artists nowadays. We will conquer. That's what I just heard. Eh. I still have 50 hertz, don't I? I know that's. Koshiro. Oh, Streets of Rage. I don't know. I do not know. It's actually surprising I don't have Streets of Rage on this. Fuck me in that song. It's not a bad sound in the background there. I could try it. Download. Okay. Don't reset on track change because I'm going to have to do this again. Okay. There. Alright, back to what we've done. Back to... No, I don't want to open Radeon settings. What did I actually do? I don't actually know. Love it when I click on a thing and it's just like I did something. Interesting. That's gonna be really. Okay, we're gonna take an entire one of these. We're gonna maximize volume, although not quite, but okay, we'll take it from here where it crosses over the middle and there's a little W shape to where it does that again over here. Isn't the same waveform really, but I clicked the wrong thing. Oh. And then we can do that trick where we copy and then push the file at the end or reverse. That doesn't sound better. Oh, it's because I need to get rid of one of these. Trim. Yeah. And this, the middle, is garbage, so... Well, still not going to work, I don't think, but we'll find out. Well, it's actually pretty close. It's got some little artifacts, but it won't be that bad. So, save. And we're going to save as... boop. Samples, Genesis. Sure, genquire. .raw. Unsigned 8-bit mono. Raw. Come on. That's the problem. It doesn't save your settings when you change the overall setting. Save. Yes. Sure. Okay. Now, we have to do the fun task of figuring out what note that is. Count tracker. Oh. Doesn't matter. That's a C. Sure. Need to keep that open for the values. 261, just in general, why not? Yay. What's at the top? I think we're going brain dead now because I'm like, too much stuff. And actually, you've got them. Oh boy. Did I close it? Nope. Okay. Choir. It's going to be Gen Choir. 44100. That's 44,000. All right. 261.6. All right. Oh, I only need the 0.6. There we go. Okay, well, the 0.6 is from the other D2, and I want to do on the strings. I think we're good. And I need to make the sturgeon louder, I think. In fact, I know what I need to do with that. That's what it sounds like. I need to make it a little louder. Oh no, first I need to copy it. And then paste it at the end and make the there, that's what it looks like. Pitch half. But we want to preserve tempo. That sounds kind of okay. And then we copy it and put it back on top of this with a mix. There we go. And then we make it louder. That wasn't much louder. There. And I'm going to actually save that and not think about it, because it sounds very weak in the actual mix from what I remember. That'll make it sound a little nicer. Gen Choir, which is 18K, which is fine. I'm looking at the freaking comments. As an insane idea for song arrangement, you could do Dio's World from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle. I know I've heard that song pretty recently too, because I was looking up a different song. I don't remember what it is though. Like, I remember what it sounds like. I could do it at some point. I'm pretty busy these days. Like, this day is sort of I'm taking a break from the other music crap I'm doing, which is a lot more streamlined than this. The other stuff is just mod plug and FamiTracker depending, but not really that much FamiTracker. We'll see, mod plug. So, or Open MPT, whatever that thing is called. It's, all shiny and crazy now. Okay. This stream is going on longer than I expected it to. But we're getting stuff done in the name of science and buying Rikki and Vikki. Go buy it. Everyone must buy this game for all of eternity. Because right now, it's, the Steam version just barely is edging out the physical release, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Anyway. Choir. We changed this. We have the right pitch. We need to inform. Yeah, this actually lines up. It's 18,032. Okay. 213. All right. Really was using a crap sample for that, huh? Well, let's see if this works. I got rid of all my pop-up windows. Uh-huh. Good. That song's not even going to have it. Alright, Misery F will have it, and Never Lose will have it. I didn't copy it. Oh. How was that modified in 2016? I didn't even have... Okay, let's not think about that. That's really weird. That's really weird. Good job, Windows 10. You have confused the balls out of me for that. Copy. She sounds kind of nice. Okay. We went from terrible and tinny sounding to okay. Misery F. That's definitely a test file. Alright. Harvey. Okay, where are you? There it is. Yes. So she sounds pretty good. Alright, neat. I didn't actually think I would get that down. That was my biggest problem with this soundtrack as a whole, was how that track sounded. It sounded terrible in the previous versions. Just really lacking, and everything was stepping on each other's toes because the pitches were all wrong. But now it looks like it's shaping up, so I might actually be done for now. We'll listen to a few more tracks just to see if I've ironed everything out. Irregular Cavern is still going to sound weird, but it's because it uses everything in ways it was not intended to be used. I only think it sounds normal because I'm used to how it sounds. We are going to go into the latest version with regular in it, which is the game folder itself. So, Steam apps. Woo! I mean, this one always sounded pretty good. Cause me misery. That sounds pretty good. I mean, it sounds about the same as it did before. Bubble will sound almost exactly the same because we made no changes. RVS or Boss S, I think it's about the same too. Pretty much just the noise channel would sound different. Oh, I'm gonna say it's still too quiet. There's not a lot we can do. I can't really boost the signal. It's just gonna distort. maybe I could make it louder. Oh, right. This actually isn't being distorted yet. I was thinking of the other wave. Yeah, we should probably max this out. And maybe even compress it a bit. Actually, don't want to use smoother. We don't want to anticipate. We do want to anticipate attack. Junior. It's the best one. Maximize. Okay. Okay. Now these are wrong again, because of course they are. This program was not written with user friendliness in mind. It's better. Okay, so it doesn't sound a lot more good. Let's see. Maybe it's the pitch is it should be a lot lower pitch than that. Noticeable in discomfort dispenser. Let's just see if we can make this sound nicer. That was no. This would sound bad. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, I can't really hear what's going on, so we can't really mute anything on this, which would be really, really, really useful. Suppose I could. No, I don't want to delete GN samples. That's insane. Okay. We need original. I can take the noise channel. So it's 0. Well, of course it's 0. It's always 0. I can take this noise channel and I can copy it here. And then I can go to faster and it's already actually in there, so I need to just run compile music. Can't open source file chan1.txt. Excuse me? Oh, of course you can't. Okay. Let's just... What? Alright. Cut you. I can run you. I sure did make output.muse. Okay, and we can put you back. Done. Right, I have it set up so if I double click on a muse, it automatically opens this. Which is kind of nice. It's a little batch file road. Huh, I mean, that's not all that far off. Yeah, it's really not that far off. So it begs the question, was 3000 actually the correct number? No. Come on. We're never gonna get the same because it's not the same sound, but that's sort of close. Okay, it's about as close as we're gonna get. Because again, it's a different sound. I can't really match them. All right. What else was I gonna do? Oh yeah, it's not loud enough because you can hear. Versus, well, it's pretty similar. That's definitely louder though. Well, again, it's pretty clipped, and the one I'm using isn't. So I think we're pretty good. All right, I'm gonna probably cut off the stream at this point, or close to this point. Sounded like TV static. Yeah, that's pretty much what that is. It's really sorta. TV static is like completely random values, from cosmic radiation and all that stuff. So it's actually a different type of noise. Sure. Which is white noise generator thing. Yeah. There you go. Now it's playing. You like mess with what they all do. I thought you could at least. Huh. Could have sworn there was like a. Oh, there's a tone generator. It's a lot simpler. White noise, pink noise, brown noise. And I think pink noise is closest to what you're going to get on a TV, or it's closer. There's just a lot more middle tones. Yeah, brown noise, different stuff. But that generator thing, I seem to recall being able to edit these wherever I wanted. You can animate, I guess. Fastest, they just all start diverging from each other. It's supposed to be all calming. It's pretty calming, I guess. Just pure white noise is very harsh, so this is nice. It sounds like rain, honestly. Maybe I should listen to this at work. Probably not. Anyway. Yeah, it actually does sound like rain. That's kind of interesting. I guess I'm done with this live stream. That was just me wanting to kind of dive into what all these graphical settings are and stuff, or all these programs I use and all that stuff. So I have a script with like the emails from Osman, just basically explaining the program and how it works and what I thought at the time and what actually is going on. So it's like I thought he meant this and he actually meant this, that kind of thing. I picked up pretty quickly on all the programming stuff, and I have my own programming experience because of SidWiz and RJDMC, so I was able to do that pretty easily. Even before RJDMC, I made programs for MML that automated a lot of stuff, and those worked pretty well. They were written in C, not C++, and not C sharp. They were written in C, so they had some interesting memory problems and stuff. Like, I was not a good programmer at that point. I still don't think I'm very good now, but back then I had no idea what I was doing. So anyway, it's been fun. Thanks for the help, people in chat, because yeah, that definitely was helpful with a couple of those. And I will probably release this in the next couple days. Not really sure exactly when, but I'm gonna take all these files and I'm gonna chop them up and yeah, I have to re-export every single one. Re-exporting in this is it's sort of fun because I have a way of automating it. I can just play a whole bunch of things all at once, and that's kind of nice. But it sucks because I have to play them all at the same time, and that can be really draining. So anyway, if I can find the OBS window, there it is. We can just do this. Woo! I, this never gets old. Never, never. Now watch it say, shake the window and everything closes. Ugh. Windows 10, you're seriously the worst.